This is one of the issues that's closest to my heart, and it has been for a long time. So, you know my history. I don't have to repeat it, but I'm personally a Holocaust survivor as an infant. I barely survived. My grandparents were killed in Auschwitz, and most of my extended family was killed. That's my personal background. I grew up ashamed of my Jewishness. In Hungary, after the war, I was still bullied for being Jewish. And I remember one of my friends coming to my rescue once saying, leave him alone. It's not his fault that he's Jewish. It's a fault, but it's not his fault. This was the defense. So I grew up with that. My grandfather, a physician and an author, by the way, who died in Auschwitz, was a good friend of Vladimir Jabotinsky, who was one of the major Zionist leaders and the founder of the party that became Likud, the current government of Israel. So that's my family, and this is my background. In my teenage years in Canada, I became a Zionist. This dream of the Jewish people resurrected in their historical homeland, and the barbed wire of Auschwitz being replaced by the boundaries of a Jewish state with a powerful army. I found it liberating. It was exhilarating to believe in that dream. And I absorbed all that perspective and all that point of view, and I really believed in it. And then I found out that it wasn't exactly like that. That in order to make this Jewish dream a reality, we had to visit a nightmare on the local population. There was a Zionist slogan called a land without a people for a people without a land. But there was no land without a people. There was people living there who'd been living there for hundreds and years or even longer. As a matter of fact, if you want to hear something really interesting, and David Ben-Gurion, who was the first prime minister of Israel, actually subscribed to this. He said this, who are the Palestinians? Because the Jews in Roman times all of them never left Palestine. Many of them stayed there. And some of them, hundreds of years later, converted to Islam. So guess who the Palestinians are? In some ways, they might be descendants of ancient Jews. They are cousins, to say the least, no matter how you look at it. And and there's no way you could have ever created a Jewish state without oppressing and expelling the local population, which is what they did in 1947, beginning in 1947, and first of all with British Empire protection, but they did this, and then in 1948, Israeli historians, Jewish Israeli historians, have shown without a doubt that the expulsion of the Palestinians was persistent, it was pervasive, it was cruel, it was murderous, and with deliberate attempt. So that's what's called the Nakba in Arabic, the disaster or the catastrophe. Now in Canada, there's a law that you cannot deny the Holocaust. I don't believe in such laws, by the way. But in Israel, you're not allowed to mention the Nakba, even though it was at the very basis of the foundation of the state. So once I became aware of all this, I was, okay, well, yeah, we created this beautiful dream, but we imposed a nightmare on somebody else. And then I visited the occupied territories, Russell, during the first Intifada. I cried every day for 2 weeks at what I saw. The brutality of the occupation, the petty harassment, the murderousness of it, the burning down of Palestinian or cutting down of Palestinian olive groves, the denial of water rights, the humiliations. And this went on, and it's much worse now than it was then. So this is the background. And It couldn't have been in any other way. Because again, you couldn't have created that exclusive Jewish state without oppressing or expelling the local population. It's the longest ethnic cleansing operation in the 20th and 21st centuries. It's still going on. And who are these people in Gaza? Now you have to go to Gaza. You have to go there to really appreciate it. It's a small area where there are these multiple hundreds of thousands of people. Who are those people? The direct children or grandchildren of the people that were expelled from Israel, or what is now Israel. Now here's the outrage. And I'd like your Zionist friend in the States to tell me this. I, as a Jew, I could land in Tel Aviv tomorrow and demand citizenship under the law of the right of return. But my Palestinian friend in Vancouver, Hana Kawas, who was born in Jerusalem, can't even visit. Now, if I have the right of return after 2,000 years, if that history is even the way it is, which is itself questionable, but let's assume that it is, if I have the right of return after 2,000 years, how come Hana hasn't got the right to return after 70 years? So what sense does it? No. So who's Gaza? This desperate, blockaded. Let me stop again. Am I talking too long about this? I'm sorry. This is so important to me, and I know so much about it that I don't even know where to stop.
So I've been getting all these reports from all my friends, Palestine legal, obviously, but also a lot of my friends in Israel and a lot of my friends all over the world, from South America, from Colombia, from Chile, from Santiago, from other places in South America. And they're all saying the same thing. They're going, Sheikh Jarrah, Jerusalem. What? What? And Biden is still going, oh, I support Israel in anything to, oh, what, you support them in this genocidal removal of people from their homes? How would you like it, Joe Biden? You're sitting at home. There, that's your home. It's where your family have lived for hundreds of years. And someone comes along and goes, oi, that's ours. I'm a settler. I'm going to take your house from you. You can, I don't care what you do, die. That would be the very best thing. I mean, it is inconscionable, unbelievable. Makes me so angry. What can you do? What can you do? What can you do? Hey, go and walk it. I'll tell you what I can do. I can make this little video and I can post it and I can tell you that it breaks my heart. And I'm so glad that Human Rights Watch has now followed the lead of B'Tselem, the human rights organization, the Israeli human rights organization that a number of months ago declared that Israel is an apartheid state. Israel is an apartheid state. Hey guys, you remember that? We're not going to play in Sun City. I thought we had something against apartheid. We certainly did when it was South Africa. Well, why haven't we got something against it now that it's Israel? That's what I want to know. I'm starting a campaign to try and persuade FIFA and UEFA to stop playing soccer against them. That will focus the attention. I know it would. It certainly did to the South Africans.
احنا مش هنسيب سينا لحد. احنا مش هنسيب سينا. احنا مش هنسيب سينا لحد.
إذا فرض علينا القتال دفاعا عن حقوقنا ومكتسبات شعبنا فنحن أهله. ودروس التاريخ تؤكد للقاصي والداني